Hey, what is up guys, and welcome back to another episode of Cydonia. And it has been a few days since I actually started recording because school had actually started. And it's just, I've been really busy the past few days. Especially I have like parkour class and piano on top of that. And I'm planning to start guitar class again. I just moved here, I never started guitar. But I'm kind of waiting for some guy, like the event organizer or something like that, some scheduler, to actually, this chunk isn't even loading, to actually tell me when I could join and when my classes and stuff. So yeah. And I promise I'm gonna make this episode productive. So what I'm gonna do is to change up my nether portal a little bit, because I saw what Etho did with his minecart thing. It's like the donkey cart, and I think that's pretty cool. So I'm gonna try to implement that, assuming it's not too much work. But before I can, I guess I'm gonna have to collect resources. I think Jay is just trying to pay off the orange wool I gave him for the friendship carrot. But this is like the fourth time he's done this? I can't remember. Oh, by the way, all these chicken lying around here, there should be 4. I'm not sure where the 4th one went. Probably, there it is. I threw an egg and it hatched 4 chickens. I was hoping it didn't hatch any, but now it's like the first time I actually ever hatched 4 chickens in 1 egg. So I decided to keep them around. It's nice having them around anyways. Right now I'm hopping into a creative world just to run some tests and stuff and design the bridge. Now that I built this, I realized it might not work as well as I want it to. Well, I mean, there's this thing. I'm gonna probably have to get all the blocks I have to build the rest. Oops. So here's the ice thing, okay? So let's say you're here, you can't get in, you can open this, so that's problem solved. And you go sprint through really quickly. But the problem is, how is the horse gonna fit? Now an easy solution is I can expand this wall, but, well, I only have a limited space to work with. I guess I can change this now. And I actually really like the super fast one over here. The super fast ice thing. But that is not the point. Right now, oops, what did I do? I'm on top of my old mob spawner design, inspired by Captain Sparkles. Here it is. It's not even that efficient. It's 1 layer, there's not a lot of spawning platform. It requires mob to go down here, get pushed by the water. And they die from fall damage, which is pretty much how most mobs are dying nowadays. But enough of that, let's continue designing the bridge. After I turn off the rain. And, oh, look at this. It's a old, what do you call it? The sand generator. It actually worked. And this is Suzumovoid's animal breeding machine, but I never got that to work. Anyways, as I was saying, back to my nether tunnel. And that was actually my old conflicted tunnel. I actually stopped building that because it looked ugly. And this one was my old conflicted tunnel. I think it looked quite decent, in my opinion. I don't know about anyone else's, but I never finished that project. And I was also testing out with some of the diagonal areas, and as you can see, it didn't look great over here yet. Which is what I'm gonna do right now. I'm gonna design a diagonal area. Place where I can go diagonally. Okay, so I pretty much got the the casing down, and I added this part just so I could transition this thing. And I do not like shifting layers, but right now I haven't built much of the tunnel, so it is quite flexible. And the feel for the tunnel, it's not supposed to be something ginormous. It's just a simple little tunnel that's it doesn't feel claustrophobic, but it feels cozy. So this, I feel like it's not too big, although it does require a lot of blocks, because I am going diagonally, so I have to kind of, as you can see, add 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 ice blocks over here. And I am not great at recording while speaking while recording. I don't know, whatever. I guess it's the same thing. But, I'm planning for this thing to be like a spruce wood. As Suzumovoid says, it looks like chocolate and vanilla, and I like those colors together, and I think it looks quite nice, actually, but I can only place these in the center, and I should probably place some stairs. But I'll play around with that, and maybe eventually I'll come up with a design. Although stairs are pretty aesthetical, I can't say that word for some reason. But anyways, although stairs are pretty aesthetical, they do limit the space quite a bit, and it feels like, by claustrophobic, I mean like it feels like that you would clip on the blocks. So if I were to place a ceiling here, and then I sprint jump my way through, it would feel like I'm gonna clip on the block, which is not something I want. So the stairs probably have to go, and another thing is I might want to add some transition block. If this looks really sudden, it's like super light and then dark. Well, adding the ice cream cone color is alright, but the cherry, not so much. I don't know exactly what my opinion is on this, although I hate this part. And still, the road needs to widen up a little bit. So I'll go ahead and do that. Well, here's design number 1, and I think it looks a lot better. It's just one thing that this spot has like some slight details where there's the sandstone next to birchwood, and that little difference do make, actually it's not a little difference, it's actually a huge difference. It does make a difference. Well, if that makes any sense. That's overusing the word difference there. And I think this area, I probably need to expand it by 1 more block. I can do that quickly on camera. And there we go. I think that looks a bit nicer. Maybe 1 more. So place a stair here, slab, and stairs. How's that? I think that's a great transition. And this is not a great transition. It just looks pure ugly. You see, I think the problem is not the block that I'm using exactly. I think it's the fact that if you're going diagonally and you're creating a road diagonally, you should probably make the road slightly wider. I mean, if it's like this, I mean, that would look fine. Like, if it's like that, that would look alright. Not the best choice, but I think it looks alright. And even if I add the stone slabs, it doesn't look amazing. And let's say quartz. I don't think this would look that great either, but I don't want it because I'm trying to transition into something darker. So it's not a great transition block. Anyways, what I was trying to say there is that I really don't think there's a better block to transition other than the oak slab or this ice cream cone. So I guess I can try something over here. Maybe not. Yeah, again, I think it's way too narrow for me to actually add something in the middle. I just realized if I decorated the floor and it looked ugly, I don't think I can do the same thing for the ceiling. And that means I'm gonna have to redesign this area, probably without the stairs. Well, I decided not to limit myself to just a slab, because what happens is I can actually sprint on the ice and not worry about clipping if I add a ceiling there. Like if I add a ceiling, I can't really clip on it, and instead of keep my speed, because you can sprint up slabs and stairs, but I don't see where I can actually use a stair. And I added some orange wool. It looks okay. I'm not too sure about it. It looks strange to me, I guess because the floor is brighter than the wall. I don't know. One thing an artist always needs when they get stumped on something is a little bit of inspiration. And as you can see, here is Hermitcraft. Well, season 2. Technically season 2. They had a first map, but then there was like some issues with the world, and then I guess something happened, and there was a map reset. So technically this is season 2. But again, I'm just looking for some inspiration. I know Suzuma Void also has one of the diagonal tunnels. Oh, here's a diagonal tunnel. It doesn't. Oh, there's netherrack here. Whose is it? It doesn't look completely finished. It could just be me, I don't know. But this one isn't that finished, so I wouldn't take a good look at this. But it's just a little tip for anyone. If you're having creative block, I would look for some other places just for some inspiration. I see the moose is still, well, the reindeer is still here. It's nice and roomy, but the thing is, I'm not planning to spend that much resource on it, though I think this gives me some ideas now that I'm studying it. I mean, sure, I'm not going to use glass because my nether tunnel is like all the way up in the ceiling. There's not really much of a view. Now, this time when I transition to the diagonal part, I am not planning for this to look as bright. So maybe I can add some torches here. Would that look too weird? I don't know. Would it show through the slabs? That's what I'm wondering. And when I say show through the slabs, I mean do something like this, where it leaves something really light, and then something really dark. But I really don't think that looks too terrible. I changed my mind. But the nether lighting is a bit different. I just hope it doesn't look as terrible as this. I don't know. The only way for us to know is to test it on the nether. Well, first I tried something like this, and then I'm thinking that's not enough details, so why not floating glowstone? Though I don't think that is the best choice. Now, the next thing that I thought of is pistons. So let's test that out. They don't look too bad. They don't look too amazing, so there's no point in putting the pistons here. Okay, so the floating glowstone looks great. Well, it looks alright, but it doesn't feel right. I mean, they're floating. Maybe I could use some chains like Etho did. So let's see. Not chains, what are they called? Iron bars. I keep on forgetting the name, just like last episode. I'm gonna work on that. The wooden fence posts blend in, I think, way too much. But the nether fence post doesn't look that bad. Actually, it looks like it is hanging a little bit. Though, it feels a bit cramped, maybe. The stairs doesn't make it look too much better. I don't even know why I thought it would. the cobblestone walls actually blend in. I'm surprised I even thought of that. I didn't really think of that. I was scrolling through the creative inventory for blocks, and I found it, and I realized it doesn't look that great. I didn't mean the cobblestone looked ugly. I actually meant that it blended in a bit too much for my taste. I do prefer the nether brick fence, but I'll play around with the design and show you exactly what I end up choosing. So I realized, there is no point in making this looking overly amazing. I mean, it's a nether tunnel, so I don't see the big deal about it, but I think this would be good enough. Like if I just remove the fence post, because if I add it, it feels like it's just taking up space. But I think now it is fine. Maybe you guys won't like it, I don't know. I'm not entirely sure about this, but as of now, that's the design that I would be going with. On second thought, I like this design better because it looks like, I don't know, giant footprints. Not really footprints. It just looks more unique. Yeah, personally, I think this looks pretty decent. Maybe I can add some over there. Nah, I don't like that. There. I think this looks pretty decent. Good enough for a bridge, in my opinion. So I decided to get work on my nether tunnel project and get out of creative mode for once. Well, finally. And I designed Ice Tray version 2.0. It is more efficient now that there's more water next to this thing. A solid block. And the only problem is that if all of this, or the entire thing is frozen over, I could mine the entire thing, and all I have is flowing water, just flowing that way. And a simple fix is just pour a water bucket in one of these corners over here. I don't even think you need to pour it in a corner. You can pour a water bucket anywhere on this line, and it would work. So that's one major downfall, or downside, with this machine, but I think it works fine for me at least. So I've got over 4 stacks of ice, and this is pretty much how much I finished, and it's not much. I think it's a quarter of the tunnel or something, and you can see the end over there. So I was looking around for a giant lake like this thing, and the reason why? Well, I have a silk touch pick, and I think it would be perfect for this. Look at this. All of this used to be ice or water, and now I just dug it out, and I'll show you how much I have. Except for this area was blown up by a creeper. And here it is. It's a huge area. And it took me a few hours to actually get this done. And I will collect the clay later. And here it is. I feel like I'm saying "and" a lot. Anyways, this entire place was all ice. And I'll show you how much I have. And no, it's not that much. That's like, I have a double chest and a half full of ice, and that is a crazy amount. If this is not enough for my nether tunnel, I do not know what will. So I finished placing ice in the entire tunnel, and I'm just going to place netherrack here because I don't want the light from the portal to melt the ice. And I'm wondering if you could actually, if you sprint jump on ice, would it be faster than if you do this? But anyways, that took about 18, well, all of this many stacks of ice with 15 left over. But that is pretty much all I have time for today. I'm sorry it's a short episode. I had school in the way, so I only had like 2 days to record this. But I think it's pretty good for 2 days. Anyways, that is all I have time for today. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys next time.